All right, one last relationship/sexuality video, and then I promise we'll get back to recipes. But this is so important. There's a big misconception out there that we really need to clear up and set straight. And that is, the misconception is that the older you get, the less important sexuality is, and/or the longer you're in a relationship, the less you do it. And that okay, so there's two issues there. The first one is, okay, if you're getting bored of the situation, if you just don't have that spark or energy, that's not as much of a physical thing. It is to a little bit, but to some degree, that's a relationship issue. We've both had 15-year relationships, and sexuality really was never an issue.
Right.
It never was. It's something you just do because it feels good and you just do it.
And you're with the right partner.
Right, and that's important. So if you're with somebody and there's always that, this is at the beginning, that spark, and then it kind of fades away. When you first meet somebody, you see what you want to see. You fall in love with potential. And then after a while, you realize who you're really with, and then reality sets in, and then it's like, ugh.
Well, that too, let me jump in really quick. Or you just want to give so much of your time, spend so much of your time with that other person and, just be with them. And then, life starts, you have to get back to your life again and
Right.
you pull away and,
Right.
sex isn't as urgent. You've already established that. You've enjoyed that.
Right. And
now you have to get back to, taking care of life, but you still do need to make time for that partner.
That's what people think. You have to make time, like it's a chore, like it's a job, and it becomes less important. Oh, let's get back to real life. Let's get back to reality now. Sex is part of reality. Sensuality is a way of looking at life, and
you're right, like eating and drinking, like you said.
It is part of health, and I think the most important thing that turns people on, it's not physical body stuff. What turns us on more the most is, are we excited with where we are in life? Do we have something to look forward to? Do we enjoy waking up in the morning and excited about the day? Do we have some big thing coming up? Do we have, people need a reason to live. They need to be excited about something. And if they are, that turns them on. The biggest, most sexually active people are the ones that have a lot of stuff going on. They're actually have more things going on than the people that sit around doing nothing. So that's not an excuse, like, I'm busy, I got too much work to do. The most powerful people out there are the ones that are the most sexually active. And there's something about being turned on about the ability to make a difference in the world and, having a purpose. If you're in a relationship that's draining you, that's sucking your energy, that is like, another day, of course you're not going to feel it. Or if you realize with your wrong person, or you're just not motivated in life, or you're depressed, you're going through a depression, that's a big killer. Okay, so that's a whole issue video unto itself. But there's also another important factor, and that's really the main thing about this video, and that is your hormones. And when people think hormones, they think just bodybuilding and sex. You've got thousands of hormones that do all kinds of different things, but they're very, very delicate and they're very, very sensitive, and they get knocked out very easily. The first thing to go when you're not healthy is hormones. So this is my important point here. One of the biggest factors of losing sex drive is not being healthy. And people don't want to hear this. I know it's going to irritate some people and they're going to be in denial of this, but there are people, okay, first of all, there's a video I did a video kind of about this a few years ago. You can click here, you can watch it. I had a woman, female sexuality expert talk about this, about postmenopausal female sexuality. The fun should never end. There are women that she talks about, that she works with, that she knows, that are having a really great sex life in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Health is everything. Financial, sexual, physical, emotional, spiritual, it's all connected. If one of them starts to go, the other ones get pulled down with it. So if you're losing your sex drive, I'd have a serious look at your health, at what you're eating. Now, this is something that is fascinating about nature. Nature is so genius. The more you study it, the more fascinating it is. Nature doesn't want any species to die off. So it programmed for only the healthy ones to procreate, to reproduce. And the unhealthy ones, the sick ones, the weaklings, they don't have the urge to reproduce because only the strong are supposed to survive. So the more unhealthy and sick you get, the less of a sex drive you're going to have. So if you're eating bread, pasta, cereal, cookies, dairy, sugar, anything that's processed, that's cooked food, that is not found in nature, you've devitalized, devalued the power of that food, and you start getting run down from it, and you start, all your systems are going to start running down. You are not supposed to, over the last half of your life, lose your energy, lose your vitality, your sexuality.
You're not supposed to grow old.
I know. The things that we call old are not normal. If you go into the wild, there's no fat, bald, gray-haired animals.
I made a joke the other day. I said, "Oh, Marcus, you're an ARP card. You're old enough to join AA RP."
Yeah, I know. I'm actually old enough to live in a retirement community.
Oh my God, we were jogging. We were sprinting last night.
We're having more fun in the bedroom than a lot of people in their 20s. And it's a common known fact that a lot of men, which used to be like, want to have sex with everything, are losing their sex drive because they're unhealthy because of the modern lifestyle. I mean, back when we were young, men were jumping on everything. Nowadays, it's like, it's everything's so bizarre, but health is a big part of it. And so, don't think that just because you're a certain age that the sex drive is naturally supposed to drop off. It's not. It's not. And just because you've been in a relationship for years and years, we get these emails, wait till you've been together for 10 years, wait till you've been together for 15. We've been
to 15.
We've both been in 15-year relationships. And now we're with somebody that we're even more like, this is like the electricity is like,
don't get us wrong, we loved our previous partners.
Yeah.
We continue to have great
love and appreciation is there, but there is a chemistry between us that is like, we have to kind of,
satisfy it.
Yeah, several times a day sometimes.
Well, just like, let me jump in again, the only purpose the clitoris serves is for pleasure for a woman.
Pleasure, right. Nature doesn't make mistakes.
No.
So people think, sex is just for reproduction. If that was true, after you lose your ability to have babies, at post-menopause, there should be no sex drive.
Well, wait a minute. That clitoris is there for a reason to procreate, because if we didn't have it, we'd be pushing you guys.
Yeah, right.
Get away!
Exactly.
We have one, and we already push you guys away sometimes.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if we didn't?
Exactly. But the point is that in nature with all its wiseness would make that switch shut off after you've had, post-menopause. But there are women, and this is a common thing across the board, women that are living healthy sexual and physical lives are saying the same thing, and that's what that video was about, that it talks about. And that is, yes, when you're in your 20s and 30s, it's just basically have as much fun as possible. But then when you hit 50, 60, 70, 80, it gets deeper meaning. It has more depth, and it's more beautiful,
more satisfying, and
sexuality, for me, is sensuality, and sensuality is a way of looking at life. Sensuality is seeing the beauty and the just getting just. I don't even know how to describe it in words. It's just a way that you get turned on by life itself. And that's something that's important that you need to understand. She's 50, I'm passing 55 these years. I'm on my way to 60. And
I'll be 50 in December, but go on.
So we have no less of a sex drive than we did decades ago.
But then that goes back to health.
Right.
We do somersaults, cartwheels. We were sprinting yesterday. It's just the whole.
Exactly.
It covers everything. If you're healthy, you are still agile, and you still can run and jump and play and avoid aches and pains.
See, people need to understand what these hormones are that get released. Sexuality is life force. It's creative force. It's creative energy. What you do with that is up to you, but it's powerful. It has the power and the ability to create a human being. That's how powerful it is. Now, you don't have to use it for that. You can use it to create anything. And this is the most creative people in the world will all say the same thing. Their greatest inspirations come after having sex.
Let me just jump in here really quick. Yeah, Marcus, you are not like most other men that roll over and go to sleep after sex, what Marcus usually does is he sprints out of bed and runs into his office, and his creative juices have been woken up. Now they're flowing. Now he's working. He's inspired.
Or I start jotting down all these ideas. I have a notepad next to my bed and it fills up. The point is that, yeah, if you're having sex and then afterwards you feel drained and you're tired and you just go to sleep, two things for that. One is you're not healthy, and two is somebody's doing it for the wrong reasons. It's just the way to get off, and then it's unsatisfying, and I think relationship is doomed at that point. The point is that if you are excited, because sex creates
energy.
It's a creative force. It creates things. It creates babies. It creates ideas. It creates inspiration. It creates life. It creates the greatest architecture. The greatest inventions come from that release of it's an energy that needs to flow, and it creates like 1 + 1 = 11 or 1,011. So it is a force that creates magic in the world, and that should never end. That should flow until the day you die. And people go, well, sexuality is an energy that needs to be held in and not just squandered off, because then you lose your life force. If that was true, we would be lying dead on the floor, because we'd be so drained and so out of energy. But it's what keeps you young. It's what keeps things going. This is another thing. That what I just described, that was the mentality of lack. That it's like money. Like if I give it away, then I'll have nothing, and then I'll be broke. Same thing with sexual energy. If I give it away, then I'm going to be drained. I'm going to have no energy, and you'll get old. Nothing could be further than the truth. It's what keeps us young. We let it flow like crazy. Life. If you do not believe in lack, if you believe that there is enough to fulfill you for the rest of your energy, needs to flow. Anytime there's a blockage, there's going to be issues beyond that blockage. There's nothing wrong with fasting, if you need to clear the crap out of your life and just shut everything off for a while, but that's temporary. We're talking about long-term full life stuff here. It's an energy that needs to flow. The more it flows, the minute you create a vacuum, it sucks more into that space. So keep that energy flowing. And life is energy. What you do with it is up to you. So this is important, and that is keep the energy flowing. If you're with somebody that you don't feel it with, then maybe you're with the wrong person. But the energy needs to flow somehow. And it doesn't matter how old you are, and it doesn't matter how long you've been in a relationship with somebody. That energy needs to flow. And whatever it is that's keeping that from happening needs to be addressed. If it's the food you're eating, if it's the person you're with, you're not where you want to be in life, your financial situation, whatever it is, it needs to be addressed. And all those issues I help you with my books and my videos. That's what we're here. The free YouTube videos. We're trying to knock off these subjects as much as possible. But if you want to get it all at once, read the book. But the point is, we're here to show you how to get out of the rut you're in. So anyway, this is a really quick, really crammed together explanation of this energy.
To have more sex. That's what it is.
Well, is sensuality, and let the hormones flow. Let the hormones be a guide as to how healthy you are. And I don't just mean physically, although that is maybe half of it. The point is that something in your life is not healthy if you are lacking sex drive. It could be physical, financial, emotional, spiritual, whatever it is. Something is pulling that energy and weakening you. Most people are in denial of the two things. What they're eating, everybody thinks they're healthy. They're not. If you're eating bread, pasta, cereal, sugar, cookies, crackers, cooked food, blah, 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 you already know all this. Okay, most of you are in denial of that part. And the second part is that the person you're with in a relationship. Nobody wants to feel like a failure. Nobody wants to address the fact that maybe they're with the wrong person. Or, and this is another thing, maybe the person you got together with 5, 10, 20 years ago was the right person for you at that time, but people change, they grow, they evolve at different rates. Maybe you two were right at that moment, but then this one evolved a little faster, and this one kind of stayed where they were. Or maybe this one kind of changed their interests.
They grew in separate
directions. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's not a failure. That's just, you needed each other at that time. You're right for each other at the time, but it's like a Volkswagen and a sports car trying to get along at the same time. At some point, that sports car is going to go. Anyway, that's a bad analogy. Anyway, so that's our little thing that we had to say really fast. We promised we're going to make more recipe videos, but this is so important.
It's part of health.
Yes, this is part of
That's what we're
health.
covering.
This is part of what. Anyway, so stay tuned for more. We're here to help you. We're here to kind of push you and get you. Come on, wake up, get to where you're supposed to go. Because that's so important. And this is probably the most important thing in life. Right here. Right? Yeah. Okay. Want to go upstairs?
Okay. Hey, why go upstairs?
All right. Get out of here. Go.